So after a very long hiatus, I will say, Jacob has returned. For those who don't know, Jacob was active with a lot of the LA protesters. And I've made clear on this channel my criticisms of the LA people. I'm not saying they're all bad or they're all monsters, but the general average gist has been mostly shocking and kind of disappointing and I think unproductive. The low points, of course, DOA, why he kept doing that for months and months is screaming, yelling at women, and often threatening them on these very weird, quixotic forays throughout LA. So I would give Jacob this, that he is probably one of the least worst of those people, more articulate, more reflective, and definitely more intelligent. And he put out a recent video, which the title gives away, as he's sending a lot of good thoughts and reflecting on the good parts of Mike Rinder's legacy. But on this channel, we tend to be a little bit more critical. However, I don't want to hijack or misrepresent what Jacob is saying or doing. And I had quibbles here and there. Some fact checking was necessary. There was one section I really disagree with, but overall, it was a fairly positive video about how, unfortunately, he accidentally broadcast a lot of anti-Rinder stuff he didn't even agree with because he was trying to be a productive person within that protest circle. So we'll play a little short excerpt of what he was basically getting at and his background, and then we will proceed.
And he explained in his videos that he has exhausted the efficacy of 2 cancer drugs. And now, at the stage that he's in, he and his family are looking at alternative methods of healing so that he can pursue wellness as he battles the horrific illness that he's battling. I won't get too into the details of what exactly it is that he discusses in his videos, but there's a few things that I wanted to share in addition to just pouring out love and support.
So, whereas Jacob is clearly someone who saw Going Clear and the aftermath and proceeded from there, I am somewhat more puzzling. I saw Going Clear years ago, and definitely that shocked me and probably was my beginning. And I really didn't see too much of the aftermath. I saw short clips here and there. I tried to see a few episodes, but being brutally honest, I don't think I was learning too much. So I think I was better off just learning by myself. It is informative in a few places, but it is also wildly distortive in many other places. But that is how Jacob began, and he's graduated to doing more active things. Met with Laura and some of the exes, as well as other, whatever we're going to call them. I don't think it's anti-Scientology, but I guess these assorted protesters, and got involved actively late last year. But he took a big break for several reasons. He was very active also in pro-Palestinian activism. And from what I understand, he had gotten involved in a court case, and that tied him up a long time. Summer of 2024, there were a lot of things that emerged, and as he makes clear, he wasn't exactly approving of it, but he refuses to name any names. And this is where I will be slightly critical. Again, I'm not really focusing on him, just the more general problem here of self-censorship.
A lot of my stream consisted of people speaking badly about Mike Rinder while I didn't say anything to defend him. And the people who were speaking unkindly about Mike were ex-Scientologists. And like I was saying earlier, as somebody who's not an ex-Scientologist, I didn't feel that it was my place at
Well, I
a
will not speak
protest
for
that's meant
Jacob,
to
but
amplify the voices
I
of the.
will name an obvious person. I won't return to this because I know, for whatever reason, this person seems to be a protected class, but I think he means somebody like Serge. Now, I don't really like Serge. I don't respect Serge. I think Serge is a fraud. I think I've provided more than enough evidence he is a fraud, and his daily hypocrisy really shocks me. But what shocks me even more are the defenses of Serge, and they are some of the most bat crazy, loopy headed, most bizarre nonsense I've read. And this has been an education for me because of all the people to defend, like Serge is one of the worst, but yet continually I'm being told, who are you to talk about Serge? Who are you to... So let's get some things straight. No ex-Scientologist is a god, right? Serge is not a god. I am not a god. Serge is a human. Yet just saying these basic facts is considered, what's the word? You can't say it. You can't even say, well, I think Serge is a human. No, Serge is beautiful and gay. He's our leader. We obey him now. That is not me selectively quoting people. That is not me clipping people. That is what people say. And I'm just going to play a little part of Marilyn admitting blatantly, yeah, that's what she's there for. She's there to get the propaganda from Serge, and she loves it and will pay for it. But enough of him. Let us get back to Jacob. I think the dilemma is, if you admire Mike Rinder, fine. I'm very, very mixed on him. I think my main criticism is, though, Jacob has clearly put in quite an effort to educate himself. And I'm sure he's not that naive. He is still blind as a bat. Granted, the fact that Mike helped a lot of people, Aaron helps very few people, is telling, but it's not the end of the story. So I think the way forward is to move beyond Rinder and Aaron. But clearly, we're not even getting started because Jacob's like, I don't want to name names. I don't want to do that. And I'm not taking too much from him for that, but that is a weird thing where in an allegedly movement against brainwashing cults, you can't even say a person's name. Saying a person's name is like, no, 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 that's forbidden. No, I mean, we know Serge, yes. He's the screaming maniac, but no, no, don't say the name. And it's like, why can't we say the name? No, don't, no, no. Now, Jacob, I think, tries to valiantly provide a reason. And I would agree there are a few tricky cases, but it's like, that is not a good idea. That is not a good idea. So I think this was a very interesting, sincere video. And I actually wanted to do something on Chris Shelton. But frankly, I think if I did that one, I get accused like, oh, you're pro Rinder now? Are you pro Rinder? Yeah, well, I mean, that is where we are. We have this fanatical, and even calling them fanatical makes them sound intelligent. But these really pathetic people, all they have is being ex-Scientologists. And they're demanding you treat them like royalty. Well, I gotta say the obvious. Dianetics is not a god. Serge is not a god. She's not a queen. He's not a king. They're not from royal noble blood. And if they were, I'd be laughing at them even more. They are just people. They say words. I think their words are mostly pointless and don't mean anything and are false. And we should start there. But we're a long way from that, where even naming people apparently is forbidden, but only for one class. The ex-Scientologists can name other people, even dox people, even use people's private information. That's okay. But you even say their name, their holy name, that is forbidden. And I think like Jacob put out a good video, but it is a weird place where even naming the people who he's talking about in the video can't be named because we can't do that. But a very interesting video, but it does show us that this movement is in a very weird, bad place.